Well, welcome along, everybody, to fabulous Las Vegas. We're at round 5 for ERO. Tier 1, 17 drivers in, and we're starting off with a beautiful night sky in qualifying. And nobody wants to go out on track quite yet, so we will get everything up that we want to get up. 17 drivers in, and it's gonna be a fun one around Las Vegas. We know how fast the back straight can be. There's going to be a lot of overtaking down there, but also how technical and tricky Sector 2 can get, especially with a lot of the low downforce meadows around the track that everyone's probably going to be running. So tricky to get a lot of the corners there right. We'll definitely be seeing some mistakes and some mishaps. So we'll keep an eye out for any action that'll take place during the race here. Could see a bit of an upset winner. Probably going to be seeing some safety cars. Could see some interesting strategies happening there. But Liam Cross leading us out for our first out lap today in the Williams. So we'll keep an eye on him for the moment. But coming into Sector 2 right now, just like I said, not much grip to be found on the track surface, and not much being given by the car either through downforce. And it appears the Ferrari here is having a little bit of an issue. Just see, is that going to be client side or not? It looks, yeah, the Alpine tried to avoid him, it looks like. So I think we might have a car stuck there. So that's a good start. For today. We were having some server troubles earlier on as well, so always a fun game. That works all the time. But down that extremely long back straight now, is there another car right behind the okay, well, we have a grid penalty. We have a grid penalty already for that is Malvin Allen's being given a grid penalty for a collision with Bradshaw there in the Mercedes as they were getting past the Ferrari. So, good starts all around. We will head back onto Liam Cross' first flying lap of the day, heading into turn 1. Bit of a tightening and then opening once again a left-hander. Keeping it to the left so we can swoop into the long right-hander. Not much traction to be found, especially in the middle and end of the corner. So we will see some people overclick it there for sure, but just need to be a bit careful on the throttle application. 90-degree right for turn 5 as the DRS slams shut, and we are heading into Sector 2 as that Ferrari is going to distract literally everybody on a lap. A very tricky, difficult tightening turns 6 and 7 as they tighten into the chicane. Very difficult for new ABS users, or no assist users, I should say. But out of Sector 2 we go then. And into, let's see, turn 12, the sharp left-hander to start off what is pretty much the, I believe it is actually the longest straight on the calendar. And Bradshaw's given himself a grid penalty for a collision with Allen's as well. So all evens out in the end. And we are nearing the end of the long back straight, heading into the 14, 15, and 16 complex now. Just a little wide over 14, it looks like. Taking a lot of curb through the inside of 15. See how much that hurts Cross's lap time as we round the final corner. Turn 17, keeping it to the left. And it's a 32 flat for the Williams of Liam Cross. Right behind him is going to be Panos. Not Panos, the other Aston. Where is the other Aston? It is Otto on an out lap, so we can instead... Who is the first one on a hot lap right now? It might actually be Panos. Just look at the tracker here. Yep, looks like... Oh, it might be Carlos Torres. There we go. Next driver on a fast lap. Alright, finishing up the long back straight. Heading into turn 14, we'll see the line here for the Alpine. So missing the curb on the left and then straddling the one on the right. So it might have been a good line from Liam Cross then. The Red Bull of Herrera just setting the fastest lap time, a 31.5, so a good half second faster than Liam Cross. Invalid lap time for Torres as we were watching him. We can head back over to Panos, who's going to be the next one across the line on a fast lap. DRS open all the way down the back straight. Clatter of the curb there on the left. Okay, straddling the one on the right. Beautifully done then. And one more corner to go. Don't even have to think about it. Turn 17, just throw the car in. Plenty of grip to be found. It's a 32.3 for Panos. Next across is going to be... Is that an Alpine or a Williams? Well, he's going into the pit lane. Let's see, it's going to be the Alpha Tauri of David Clark going to be next across the line. So we'll hop on board for a full lap of the Las Vegas Grand Prix then. Keeping the car to the right and swooping it in early apex for turn 1, but keeping it to the left so we can swoop in then for turn 2. And letting the car walk itself out to the left-hand side of the track with its momentum. DRS open on the first real straight of the track. Braking just before the 100-meter board then, and tipping it in, not hitting the curb on the inside, so raised curb. And we'll keep it to the inside for 6, let it walk out through the braking into 7. Looks very nicely done from Clark. And let's see, into 9 we go. Bit of a clumsy, slow left-hander. Now into twisty bits, into 11 and 12. Now another corner where drivers need to brake and turn at the same time. A bit difficult to do, but manages to get himself past the curbs there onto the long back straight. Have some people streaming in the YouTube chat. I see that. Wonderful to have everyone here for ERO Round 5 in Las Vegas. Few minutes down in qualifying, 10 to go. Then we're going to have a very exciting Grand Prix as always. On the last straight of the track then for David Clark's lap as we round turn 17 and head up to the line. It's P2 provisionally with a 31.6. Slots him right between the two Red Bulls. Seems like plenty of people looking to put a lap in late. Not many people in quite yet. Just looking if anyone's on a fast one. Looks like Bradshaw is. We'll hop on board with him. And hitting the limiter at 350, 354, just reaching here in Bradshaw's Mercedes. Hard on the brakes all the way back down to 100 kph for the corner. And done in just over 100 meters time. What a work of engineering the F1 cars are. But crossing the line now puts him up into P5 with a 32.2. And we can hop on over to Otto. Picking him up at the end of the back straight as well. Just going over the curves of 14 and 15. And round 17 we go once again for P5 for him, just ahead of Bradshaw, 10th faster with a 32.1. And we can head on over, see Rajuel's on a lap, and his teammates on an out lap, so we'll stay with Rajuel here for a second. As it looks like quite a few people are starting to filter out of the pit lane now, finally. Through 14, 15, and 16 once again. Haven't really seen anyone fall afoul of the curbs quite yet. One driver just getting his time deleted for track limits we saw earlier. Rajuel throws himself up into P4, 31.9 for him. And, oh, is that a car in the wall? Who might that be? That is Allen's, who's invalidated his time. Does he have damage on his Williams? Looks okay. But not going to be a lap for him. All right then. Who can we pick up real quick? Our provisional pole sitter is just about to be setting a lap to improve. So we'll hop on board with him. Lap of Las Vegas on board with Alejandro Herrera in the Red Bull. Provisionally P1 with a 31.5. And we'll see how much he can improve by. Plenty of rotation on the car as he let off the brakes through turn 1, so it looks hooked up already. Through 2 we go then. Throttle applied most of the way through 2, just can't really go full throttle, unfortunately. And into 3 we go. Here the DRS slam back shut. Just picking up some wheel spin on the exit of 5, but nothing to write home about. Keeps his Red Bull under him. And we'll see how we navigate the rest of Sector 2. It's a bit difficult to do, but he's hitting his apexes very, very nicely indeed. Wonderful to see driving like this. Now flat through the right-hander of 10, then into 11. Let the car walk itself to the outside. Was that maybe just a little bit late on the brakes? Through 12, and that's really not a place that you can mess up the braking, because all the speed you can carry through 12 is just going to help you through the back straight. So it might be a little bit of a time loss on his previous best for Herrera. We will see if he can still improve. A 10th.5 up on his previous best so far, says the Delta. So it's still looking okay for him. Back on board. Just a couple more corners to go then. And our provisional pole sitter is looking to improve on his previous best. It's a 31.5 right now. Brings it down to a 31.3. So did find 0.2 of improvement. So a decent lap nonetheless. But Carlos Torres right behind him, 10th faster, 31.25 for him. So Herrera finally finding himself upset on the provisional lap times. Okay, who can we hop on board with next? We'll just ride on board with the Aston of Panos, and we'll keep an eye on the timing towers for anything, any big changes. Through 5 we go then. And I love to see how our drivers are going to take Sector 2. So it is just a bit difficult. You can see on the telemetry there, not full braking pretty much at any point through 6 and 7. Or else the car will just lock up and go completely straight. At the end of Sector 2 then, through 10 and 11. See how much braking we can do. Just have to ease into the brakes as the car is still rounding the corner at the braking point. Still a little wide of the apex there as well. I'm pretty sure the line is to almost try and cut the inside corner as much as possible, but seems like everyone we've been on board with is just finding themselves a little understeery, so I could be wrong. You can hear the Aston Martin engine just screeching away as it's hitting its limiter down the back straight. Panos right now sitting in P9 with a 32.3. Second to last of the drivers that have set a lap. And improves by 0.4 of a second up to a 31.9, puts him P5. So a nice improvement there. Just under 5 minutes left to go. There's still plenty of people not going out for a lap. Just waiting until the very, very end. Might see some interesting one-shot quality laps happen from some of our drivers. But that doesn't mean if they mess up just a little bit, they won't have another lap to back themselves up with. Let's see. Allens is going to be starting a lap, going to be heading into the pit lane, rather. How about Raphael heading into the pit lane as well? Well, we've only got 2 cars out on track right now, then. Inlet for Panos and an outlap for Bradshaw. So keep an eye on this. And AlphaTauri coming out as well. 3.5 minutes left to go. I have a feeling they're gonna start filtering their way out pretty quickly. Does make me wonder if everyone comes out of the pit lane near the end of qualifying, what is the traffic situation going to look like for Bradshaw and the two Alpha Tauris that are on outlaps right behind him as well? I think the Tauris might just about be safe, but you can see everyone starting to come out of the pit lane now. Bradshaw might see that on the track map of his own. Might want to give himself just a little bit of space to try and not catch that whole train of cars coming out, but might be a bit difficult because they're just going to be slowing each other down. You can see through that straight there. That's exactly what they're doing. So, hop on board with Bradshaw and we'll see if he's going to have to weave his way through traffic on the city streets of Las Vegas. As through turn 1 we go. Keeping it to the left to sweep into 2. Maybe a little early of a take of turn 2. But already hitting some traffic. Might have been a scrape of the wall too on the outside. Clearing the Red Bull. And then the Ferrari that isn't actually there as we head into 5. Takes that curb very nicely on the inside. Beautifully done. Through 6 and 7 we go now. Just having to ease off of the brakes so much. And into 9, just coax the car in. So difficult to get a car turned in that much. Bradshaw 3 and a bit tenths up on his previous best, not 3 seconds up on his best. That would be quite an improvement. Just clips the inside curb through 12 and onto the back straight we go then. And this would be a good time for everyone ahead to just slow down a little bit and maybe let the Mercedes past. So they definitely don't want to be catching him through 14, 15, and 16. And there we go, look at that. The roads are closed, but it's still a traffic jam down the Las Vegas Strip as everyone's having to get out of Bradshaw's way. But they do so nicely. No impeding happening there. And it seems to be a nice take of 15 as well. So Bradshaw might be looking at a pretty good qualifying result here. Provisionally P9 with a 32.2. Crosses the line, half second up on his previous best. Throws him up into P4 with a 31.6. Very nicely done indeed. And right behind him is the provisional pole sitter of Carlos Torres in the Alpine. So we'll watch a lap with him. Although it looks like he's a little tentative heading through 2. Could be wrong there, and he's got a Williams right behind that's probably not going to be having the best of laps. Picking up a little bit of dirty air. That's a good take of 5, and seems to be a pretty clear track ahead of Torres, and the checkered flag is out. So that is a lot of people not going to be setting a lap time then. Oh, they're on fast laps right now. That's right. That's understandable. David Clark just crosses the line and supplants Bradshaw for P4. 31 for Clark. As into... Oh, that's so deep into turn 12. And that is a lap abandoned for Carlos Torres. Right behind him is going to be the previous provisional pole sitter of Alejandro Herrera. And he's going to be rounding turn 12 as we speak. And... not quite as deep into 12. So that's good at least. Might just see that Alpine on the track map having to back out of his lap. So the race is on for pole. Torres is not going to be improving. As we're just sitting on the limiter all the way down the straight. Ooh, a little hesitant through 15, I think. Might have just gone a little bit deep into the braking. So what will it be for Herrera? So we round 17 now. It's a 31-1, and that puts him back into provisional pole. And as we were watching those two battle it out for pole, looks like everyone else has put in their lap, so that's going to be it for qualifying. That is still 4 drivers not setting a lap time in quali. But anyway, that is definitely going to be the Red Bull driver of Herrera on pole today here in Ero. In Las Vegas, going to be starting just ahead of Torres, and then the second Red Bull of Rafael going to be starting in P3. So a good qualifying result for Red Bull. David Clark going to be taking up P4. And that's Kalle Pulkkinen in the Ferrari. P5, Bradshaw puts himself up into P6. Liam Cross in 7th. Carlson in 8th, Panos in 9th, Rajewald rounds out the top 10, and we will get the rest of the grid after this quick intermission. There we go. So, there are some grid penalties to go around, though, so that might switch things up just a little bit. But outside of the top 10, we have Otto in the Aston Martin qualifying 11th. He's going to be near his teammate. And, the McLarens and Astons just right in between each other with Olami in P12. And then rounding out the drivers that actually started, or set a lap time in qualifying, it is Allen's in P13 for Williams. Neither Haas setting a lap time. Adam Hertos not setting a time either, and Crystal staying in the pit lane as well. So that does it for qualifying. Hopefully we can get a little bit of time on the grid so that everyone can apply their setup changes and strategies. It's going to be quite the chaotic dash down to turn 1. We saw the inaugural Las Vegas Grand Prix in real life have a bit of a kerfuffle happen down into turn 1. So we'll see if that'll be the case today in ERO. And we are looking forward to it. Here we are on the grid then for the Las Vegas Grand Prix. 5 lights are on, and we are racing on the streets of Vegas. Seems to be a pretty even start from everyone up at the front. Cantorres challenged down into turn 1. Herrera sweeps around the outside, and he's still got first position. Rafael might challenge the inside of turn 2 from Carlos Torres. Side by side they go, and they might just stay side by side all the way down the straight. But Rafael having to back out of that one. Seems like everyone is through turn 1 relatively cleanly. Battle for P5 then between Cross and Carlson. Carlson with the inside, and that is our pole sitter in the wall. Our pole sitter is in the wall at turn 5 on lap 1. He's not even going to see the end of the very first lap. Virtual safety car is out for that. Carlos Torres inherits the lead of the race ahead of Rafael Bieler. And then the two AlphaTauris of David Clark and Carlson going to be taking P3 and P4 after that one. Full safety car we've upgraded to now. What happened to Herrera? It seems like he was clear. Yeah, he was clear of Torres already. I don't think he was challenging him into P5, into turn 5. That he might have just locked up and gone in on his own. If I had to guess. And a penalty for ignoring yellow flags for Harrison Holmes in P10. Just checking the F1 chat to see if there is anything happening here, but no. Interesting, very interesting. So we've lost our pole sitter already. Torres is going to be taking the lead of the race. Is anyone going into the pit lane early on? Yes, someone is. Holmes is coming in, and they're double stacking down at Haas. Do they? Oh, dear. Well, Well, that double stack is going to take just a little bit longer than they would have liked then, as I'm sure Clark now has, well, yeah, some damage. No front wing anymore for the other Haas. Allen's is in as well for a new front wing, as is Otto. And there we go, Brandon Clark with one of the longest pit stops in F1 history, unfortunately. Having to replace that front wing and wait for his teammate. Comes back out, P16, fresh medium tires, and an intact front wing. So, can we take a quick look at the starting tires for everyone then? Seems to be a lot of hards to go around. Oh, a lot of mediums to go around, in fact. So hards out up at the front. The two AlphaTauri splitting their strategies between mediums and hards. Then from Rajul all the way down to Adam Hertos, it is mediums from P5 to P11. And then a bit of a smattering of hards and mediums for everyone else. So, split strategies going on. Can David Clark maybe make some moves for the lead of the race after the safety car restart? This is going to be benefiting him for sure. Just make those mediums last a little bit longer after some yellow flag running. And depending on how quickly Clark can catch the back of the safety car queue, we could be in this lap, but I have a feeling it's going to be one more time around. There's some swappings of positions happening back here. What's going on? Harrison Holmes heading into the pit lane again. After he was just in and being followed by Hertos. Brandon Clark into the pit lane. That's a retirement for Hertos. It seems he's not having the greatest connections or something today. And it's another double stack at Haas. Interesting. How about the Ferrari? Who was the Ferrari in the pit lane? Oh, that was just, yep. That was Adam retiring. Okay. So some even fresher tires going on the Haas cars as they get to catch the safety car queue once again. Will Mylander wait for them, is the question. I'd almost hope not. Alright then, can we please go back to green this time around? Clark just catching up to the back of the safety car train. And we are in this lap, so we'll hop on board with Rafael in P2. And we'll see how the safety car restart goes. Torres will be the one leading us to green in the Alpine. Not really much trickery you can do on a safety car restart, unlike most circuits, but Torres goes nice and early and still catches Rafael off guard just that little bit. Side by side between Rajuel and now Liam Cross as they cross the start-finish line. They're not going to make it 3 wide into turn 1, are they? No, they're not. Cross just stabs it down to the inside of turn 1. Has that position on Rajuel. Panos tries to follow him through. Rajuel has the inside for turn 2, though, and... ooh, is that maybe a little bit of a switchback? Can Panos get a good enough exit out of 2? Doesn't look like he can. Have to settle for P7 at the moment, splitting the two McLarens. Torres still leads from Rafael. David Clark right behind as well. The two AlphaTauris running well. And then crossing out into P5. Rajwell hunting him down, trying to get that position back. Ooh, and a corner cutting penalty for Brandon Clark. You usually don't see that very often. Usually it's just track limits, but straight up corner cutting. So not having a great take of the chicane, I would assume. Manuel Olami starting to come under pressure from Crystal, who tries it very late down the inside of turn 12. Space given between the two of them. But is Olami still in P8? And now Liam Cross is trying to make his way into P4. Has the AlphaTauri lined up for a move, pulls to the outside. How easy can we make a move on the outside of 14? I wonder. Is that Rajwell maybe trying for the inside, but backs out of that one? And that may be just a little bit of contact between Carlson on the inside and Liam on the outside, but I think we're through relatively clean, and that is cross into P4. So Carlson being separated from his teammate now early on after the safety car restart. And, oh, there's a Haas off at the back. It's just not a good day for Haas. Harrison Holmes finding himself spun the wrong way around. Down the pit straight. I saw some changes of position. Here we go. Otto trying to make his way past Olami, and it is a full safety car for Y. One wonders. There was a Haas around. Oh, there's a front wing on track somewhere. Well, Harrison Holmes was the one who spun, but Brandon Clark is the one without a front wing. Haas is really not having a great time here today. But safety car number 2 for our Grand Prix at Las Vegas. Are we going to see any early stops for the medium runners to get onto fresh tires? Or are they just going to stick it out? Can't assume that there's much life taken out of the mediums quite yet. It is an abrasive surface around Las Vegas. The tires wear relatively quickly, but I don't think it's quite that fast. Alright, as we head to pit entry, what are we going to see? Carlos is definitely faking his way. No, never mind, that is real. Alright, so 2 hard runners heading into the pit lane earlier than 2 medium runners. David Clark inheriting the lead of the race with Liam Cross right behind. And is anyone else staying out? That is the question. Looks like everyone is coming into the pit lane. So, only 5 laps on the mediums, and I think only 2 of those laps you can really say we're racing. Oh, here we go. Allen stays out as well. Picks up P3 for his efforts. Ooh, softs going on. The Mercedes here of Crystal. Very interesting indeed. And softs for Otto in P12 as well. So, an even wider variety of strategies popping their heads up in the Las Vegas Grand Prix. And that's another long stop for Haas as we double stack for the 3rd time this Grand Prix and another front wing change for them. Sometimes for a car at the front of the field, the optimal pit strategy might be changed based on who else pits. Because as it stands, right now the top 3 are the only ones with any wear on their tires. And then Torres, only losing 3 positions, and has fresh mediums to work with. So it could stand that since Carlos didn't actually lose many positions through the pit stop cycle, that could have been the optimal strategy. Of course, that all depended on literally everyone else stopping behind him. Or, yeah, everyone else behind him right now has stopped. So, we'll see a very angry Alpine, I feel, who's very confident on his tires. looking to make his way past a driver with hards and a couple more drivers with some wear on their medium. So we've got some on-track racing here to go as our pole sitter leaves the session, and Otto is heading back into the pit lane off of the soft tires that he just pitted onto. And we are seeing some very strange strategies come here today. I usually try to what's the word I'm looking for? Try to analyze some of the strategies we're looking at. But right now, the Haas outfit and Otto are leaving me a little dumbfounded. Maybe Otto just wanting to fulfill the tire allocation, but it's a little early to think about only running mediums for the rest of the race. And he does come out P14 of 14. So he's got some racing to do. Get himself back into position. The other soft runner, of course, Crystal, staying out on the softs, has Panos right ahead of him on the hards. So Crystal's going to be looking for a position as soon as he possibly can. What can we find for position changes? That's what I want to see now. So, up 14 positions right now is Melvin Allens, up into P3. So that pit stop strategy right now, I think it's working out pretty well. I don't think he's gonna lose all of those positions, and I think everyone still has to make one more stop yet this race. Of course, there's not many laps around the Las Vegas Grand Prix, that is true. But yeah, we're definitely not anywhere near halfway yet. Safety car is in this lap. Crystal's made his way up to P8 out of P16, so looking pretty good, and on softs to boot. So looking very racy there. Let's bring the tires back up. We'll hop on board with Liam Cross, as David Clark is already leading us to green, not waiting for the safety car to get very far. In fact, I think he's got to slow up a little bit because he can't overtake the safety car. And I think the game just forced him to slow up a little bit. Here goes Allens all the way through. Saw that one coming from a mile away. Now he's going to try and keep it side by side. Or were those illegal overtakes, I wonder? And he's trying to give them back. I think that might be the case. Raphael then trying to slot his way up into P3 past Melvin Allens, who does get a time penalty for his troubles. So wasn't expecting the front of the field to slow up like that. Crystal's trying to make his way past the McLaren of Rajuel. Panos, meanwhile, we were saying that Crystal was going to try to make his way past Panos. Down to P9 now, and that was quite the dive on the inside of turn 7, and I think he's got that move done, and we are under virtual safety car again. What has happened this time? Is it Otto this time around? Yes, he's lost his front wing from the back of the field, so that gamble on his pit stop strategy is now not paying off because he's not even going to get a full safety car to replace that front wing. So very unfortunate for the Aston Martin driver. Clark still leads, has Carlos Torres right behind him, Raphael in P3, so as they were for the top two. And let's see. Yeah, Allen's not having the greatest of restarts after that little misjudgment of speed, shall we call it. Has Crystal right behind him, who's on those new soft tires, as we keep saying, so keep an eye on that Mercedes for sure. Rogerwell's in a good spot as well, worth mentioning. Has already cleared Liam Cross, and as we go to green, that's Cross with the better delta. Heading into turn 1, he's going to have that position. Torres makes a move for the lead as well. Raphael follows him through. David Clark did not have a good VSC restart. Has Allens on his rear as well. Crystal's trying to make his way, just show his nose down the inside for turn 5. Gonna force Allens to maybe give him some space on the inside of the track. Crystal's taking no prisoners, just keeps his front wing out of the rear of that AlphaTauri. And that's Crystal up into P4 now. going to be making his way up the field. Look at the closing speed of the other AlphaTauri as well, with the new medium tires versus the hards for Allen's. Now the front two running as they were and going to be trying to drop David Clark as quickly as they possibly can. That is Rajwal seeing a move done on Cross and trying to make his way past Clarkson as well as we head into turn 12. That's Rajwal with the inside line and gets that position done and dusted. And now Carlson, misreading his name there, going to be, a little bit of a touch. It's dangerous at high speeds, guys. But coming under pressure from Cross, not having any headaches there. Meanwhile, Raphael trying to make his way around the outside into 13, but not finding anything there for the lead of the race. Side by side once again between Carlson and Allens. Oh, it's the two. Oh, Williams of Liam Cross has just lost his entire front wing. Virtual safety car for that, and somehow he's got to make his way to the left-hand side of the track. He can't do it, though. He can't do it. He's got no front wing, and the VSC's going to be in this lap, of course. That's quite the mishap, shall we call it. So Las Vegas claims yet another front wing of one of our drivers here today. But Torres back into the lead of the race with Raphael right behind. David Clark in third. And Crystal looking to make those soft tires work, and they're only going to get better with all of this yellow flag running. So looks like a pretty good strategy call for the Mercedes. If we can get a few consecutive laps of racing, we might see those softs start to degrade. But Raphael looking to make positions once again as a VSC comes in, not quite able to do so. Crystal taking some alternate lines into 12, trying to throw off his opponents up ahead, but not able to find anything there. Someone's gone off at the back through 12, and that is Brandon Clark in the Haas. And we do not have any yellow flags for that. That is, let's see, that is Pulkkinen making a move on Olami, it looks like. Yes, it is. With Allen's right behind. Pass for the lead, and very deep through 14 was Carlos Torres. He's just lost 3 positions down the back straight. One to Raphael, and then 2 more. Oh, he's into the pit lane. Does he have damage? Does he have damage? Yes, he's missing an end plate on the left-hand side. Oh, that's huge. That's huge for him. He's got to replace his front wing. So now Crystal inherits P2 in the race, as he got past David Clark as well. And he's got the tires. Can he make a move for the lead of the race? DRS is open. He's dumping his battery. Raphael to the inside of 5. Can Crystal get later on the brakes? Squeeze the Red Bull to the inside, but they make contact. They make contact. And, well, they're both facing the same direction, which is good. Pulkkinen just trying to poke his nose in there. P4 now for Crystal. P6 for Raphael. David Clark re-inherits the lead of the race with Rajwal in P2 and Carlson in the other AlphaTauri in third. So a minor mishap between the front two as they headed into turn 5. It's a narrow corner, a bit difficult to go side by side there, but fortunately they both kept it out of the walls, and they all have their front wings intact for the most part, I sure hope. Let's see now. Crystal has to make up some more positions on track. He's been doing so pretty well so far. Has the outside into 14. Rajwal makes the pass for the lead of the race as David Clark is harvesting down the back straight. Is he trying to let his teammate through? Oh, they make contact. The two AlphaTauris making contact between each other. Carlson spins. Oh no. Carlson just about spun Crystal. Through goes Raphael. This is all a bit difficult to follow. Pulkkinen is making his way to the inside, and he's going to keep his Ferrari on the inside for turn 1. Crystal just a little bit later on the brakes, keeping that position. Panos getting past Olami through turn 1, and has the inside for turn 2 then. Rajwal clear in the lead of the race Almost has that second gap that he needs, but not quite. Raphael now having to defend from about 15 different people right behind him, but manages to keep it clean through turn 5 this time around. Pulkkinen, however, might have a look up the inside. Nope. He's got to back out of that one. Oh, to the inside goes Crystal. I was not expecting a move from that far back, so I cut away from him. But my goodness, how did he make that move stick? Up into P4 then, past Raphael. And all this fighting is just making them lose time to, well, the AlphaTauris that we see there, who made contact with each other just a lap ago. They've already dropped almost 2 seconds on the cars behind. But it's a second and a half. Rajuel leads clear. Has some newer tires as well. Carlson is through finally on his teammate. He can start to chase down the McLaren ahead. As Pulkkinen gets his way past Crystal, who does not have DRS this time around. Panos gets past Crystal as well without that DRS. Manuel's going to try and make his way through as well, but it seems a little clumsy from everyone in the back. Panos has had some sort of mishap happen to him. He's all the way down into P9 all of a sudden. As Crystal's into the pit lane, does he have damage, or are the softs just out of commission? I'm so lost right now. I'm really trying my best to keep track of everything. You could write a book about these 13 laps right now. Just if it was just one line of what happened to everyone per lap, you could rival the entire Bible in terms of length. Harrison Holmes trying to make his way up to P6 through turn 5. We go, has the inside, and a neat move through turn 5. Isn't that something? Oh, man. Pulkkinen might have just seen that slight mistake from Raphael in the Red Bull, but Raphael defending the inside through the chicane and doing so once again through turn 9. Is there a switchback coming? Yes, there is! Look at that. Pulkkinen saw the opportunity, and he absolutely took it. Raphael just going that little bit wide on the exit. There we go. That's some clean racing there. Carlson has caught up to the rear of Rajuel up to P1. So we have a fight for the lead happening on our hands now, but 2 seconds to the other AlphaTauri of David Clark in P3 right now, and another 2 seconds to Pulkkinen, as Holmes now is showing his nose to the mirrors of Harrison Holmes. Carlson has made his way past with DRS into turn 14, and that is a change for the lead of the race. Rajuel's down to P2. As Holmes can't make that move on Raphael. Manuel Lamy sitting in P6. Raphael ought to pit with that damage. Oh, he has damage. That's right. We'll see with the offboard cams, how bad is it? He's missing an end plate, so that's it's pretty severe, one would say. Olami's into the pit lane. Holmes now is through on Raphael. Up into P4 through turn 1. And let's see, Allen's into the pit lane as well. What's going to be happening back here? Pulkkinen just staying behind Raphael. And gonna have to make the move once again into Sector 2. Pulkkinen knows that he just has a lot more grip in his Ferrari because of that damage. Yep, you can see it there. And Pulkkinen is through. Once again, same corner as before on the inside. Now Panos might try to follow the Ferrari through. Sees the weakness in the Red Bull up ahead. Is he going to dive it to the inside through 12? Thinks better of it. Yeah, but Raphael just can't bring it to the apex there. Difficult to do. Rajuel with the DRS now. Are we going to be trading positions for P1? Yes, we are. Down the back straight, Rajuel retakes the lead of the race. Meanwhile, Pulkkinen coming under pressure from Raphael once again. Raphael makes his way through, as does Panos. Pulkkinen down 2 more positions. Bit of a difficult place that Pulkkinen finds himself in, because he's so much faster than Raphael through Sector 2. But the DRS is just so strong down the back straight that he can't keep that position. You were saying that Raphael ought to pit, but, ooh, what has happened to Otto? Otto is out of the race at turn 16, so something must have happened through the curbs of 14 and 15. We can hop on board with Allens, who just locks up. And Well, we see the remnants of the Aston Martin there strewn across the track. Is a full safety car number 3. Tell you who this is good for. It's great for Raphael. He's still running P5 with that damage, but he can at least pit for repairs under the safety car. And he won't be losing quite as much time to his rivals. Of course, this is quite bad, one would say, for Rajuel and Carlson, who are able to gap the entire field by quite a margin. And unfortunately, they're going to be bunched up once again with everyone right behind. Are they even going to pit? We saw some drivers pit off of only 4 or 5 lap old mediums at the beginning of the race. 9 laps on this stint so far. Well, Las Vegas has already claimed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drivers. As, actually, there's a couple of retirements here that I don't remember seeing. Into the pit lane, Rajuel and Carlson both. They have quite a gap to the field behind, so they're not going to be losing much in the way of positions. Clark comes in on even older tires, and everyone else is going to be in anyway. So, a bit of a no-brainer here. New softs for Rajuel. Going to try... well, it is only 9 laps to the end of the race, but I don't know if the softs are going to make it. Carlson goes for the mediums, goes for the safe approach. Crystal's staying out on his mediums, it looks like, so he's going to probably be having the worst tires of the field. Oh, Olami stays out on hards. Or did he pit for slightly used hards? That's a good question. Let's see. Where was I? What was I saying? I don't remember. Yeah, what was I saying before the soft? Softs might not make it. Yeah, not too sure. Anyway, oh, Raphael. Where did Raphael come back out? P9. So he did lose some positions to everyone else after making that pit stop. Has Olami right ahead of him. Would like to clear him ideally as quickly as possible. And then Pulkinen after that. Panos in P6. Oh, it's a really jumbled up field right now. We saw Haas really struggling at the beginning of the race. Harrison Holmes up into P4. That's what I was talking about, retirements. Let's see, our pole sitter, the first to retire at turn 5. And then, let's see, it was a manual retirement for Adam. Adam Hertos, that is. Bradshaw. What happened to Bradshaw? I don't remember. I don't remember Bradshaw retiring. It's probably some really big crash that I ought to remember, but I don't remember it happening. Let's see, Brandon Clark as well, retiring. That must have been manual as well. I don't remember. Ooh, wow. So much has happened. I've already forgotten what's happened at the beginning of the race, but I can tell you that Otto has lost... Ooh, there's some interesting lags going on there. But Rajuel not overtaking the safety car, which is good because that would pretty much immediately disqualify him. Yes, Otto losing it in turn 16. And is that Olami into the pit lane? Yes, it is. So that's one less person that Raphael has to overtake. And crosses in as well off of those mediums. So Rajuel will be the one leading us to green, ahead of Carlson and Crystal. And Crystal's going to be a little bit on the back foot, I hate to say. Got 2 soft runners right behind him, fresh softs at that. There's going to be a lot of fighting through the field. Massey straight-lined me. Oh, well, that's unfortunate. Massey. I'm not sure who you're talking about, unless you're talking about Michael Massey, but I don't think he drives. That's the one. Okay. Sure. I will pretend I know what you mean by that then. So, Cross is just forming up to the back of the safety car queue now, and we get to watch everyone go back to green. We'll stay on board with Carlson, see how Rajuel gets with the safety car restart. If he can get a second gap quickly enough on the first lap, it will prove very, very good for him. As everyone who's going to be racing him will be behind Crystal and Carlson. Can Carlson fire up those mediums? Can he make them work? How confident is Rajuel on softs? All will be answered. How well will the softs even last? That's a big question, but lap 17 of 25, they might feel pretty good for the end of the race, I have to say. It's a bit of a predicament that everyone found themselves in when they pitted, but ultimately have to go for the softs or the mediums, and it's a pretty good split between the field. So, what'll it be then? Rajuel leads us to green, as Crystal and Harrison Holmes fighting it out for position before the start and finish line. I think, was Crystal in P3 already? I don't think so. I think he's got to give that position back, which he does, and he's going to be fighting it back as soon as he possibly can. But David Clark might try and find his way through the Mercedes. Can't quite do that yet. Is Crystal going to be diving it down the inside of turn 5? Shows his nose, but can't make the move stick. Meanwhile, Pulkkinen on the inside of turn 5 gets that position from Panos. And Raphael, not with the greatest of restarts by the looks of it. Had a bit of a gap between himself and Panos up ahead. Ooh, further up, though, David Clark and Crystal fighting it out through turn 9 of all places. Side by side through 10 and 11. This is going to get a bit sketchy as they head into the braking zone. They're going to keep it side by side like this. But that is David Clark on the inside for turn 12. Just shows Crystal the outside. And Crystal in that Mercedes is going to be picking up a bit of a slipstream, but a much better exit through 12 for Kalle Pulkkinen. And he's going to try and get Clark and Crystal at the same time. Down the back straight we go then. That Ferrari is going to be hitting its limiter. Side by side into turn 14 we go then. Inside for David Clark. And Pulkkinen has to back out of that one. Already 2.5 seconds between Holmes and David Clark. So the top 3 starting to run away with it already as fights are happening further down the field. And speaking of fights further down the field, Pulkkinen trying his way around the outside of turn 1. If he can keep his nose in, he'll have the inside for 2. But, oh, he does. I was just about to say he has to back out of it, but he does have the inside for 2. Don't think he's going to have a good enough exit, though, is the thing. And he just has to stay behind the AlphaTauri. No, he has a good enough exit. He's going to try and make his way on the inside of turn 5, and he's got that position before they hit the braking zone. So that is Pulkkinen up into P4. Crystal's going to try and follow him through. Side by side between Raphael and Panos now, heading into the chicane. Panos is being passed both by Raphael, now by Carlos Torres. He's trying to have a recovery drive of his own. That is Crystal ahead of Raphael, with David Clark ahead of the two of them. Harrison Holmes made his way past Carlson, worth mentioning, and now is going to be chasing... Oh dear, chasing down Rajuel. He was just as caught out by that as I was. And, well, it's a... a little bit unfortunate, but I think Holmes is going to have this position done regardless. He had the slipstream. He's not even having to use his battery. Well, no. Well, Carlson, apparently, really wants that position, and he's got his way past Holmes now. So back down to P3 goes the Haas of Harrison Holmes. Side by side through 13, 14, and 15 go David Clark and Raphael. And there's a McLaren off at the back. That is Manuel Olami in turn 14, who is not really getting it going. There we go. And down into turn 1 we go once again. David Clark trying to swoop it around the outside of turn 1. Ooh, on Carlos Torres, but he has Raphael right there instead. You can watch this all on board with Liam Cross. Harrison Holmes made a move for the lead. We're watching this fight real quick. Sorry for all of the leaders having a wonderful fight, but pretty much a 5-way war zone happening right behind all of you up ahead. Down to the inside goes Liam Cross, but he has to back out of that one. A little ambitious, but Holmes made his way up into P1 now. Rajuel relegated down to second place, and Carlson fighting from third. Pulkkinen was able to break away from the rest of the crowd behind, and he's making up a lot of time on the cars ahead. So keep an eye out for that Ferrari. Torres coming under pressure from Rafael, who backs out through turn 12. And onto the back straight we go then. DRS is enabled this time around, and that means Rajuel is probably going to be making his way past Holmes here in just a second. And that's Rajuel back into the lead of the race. I think Carlson's going to have to stick behind on this occasion. David Clark got past both Rafael and Carlos Torres, who is all the way down into P9. And look at how they're spreading out almost 3 wide as they head into turn 14. And is that going to be contact? It's not contact somehow between Cross and Rafael, who had a very good run through 14-15. And just about broke himself away, but he's going to be clawed back by the Williams. To the inside goes Torres on David Clark, has to back out of that one. Panos is going to try and take advantage of that one, but can't quite sweep it around the outside of... No, it's not actually turn 2. That's 3 and 4. Oh, man. American racetrack conventions, am I right? Anyway, Rajuel still leads from Holmes. Rajuel defending the inside of the chicane. Holmes probably just going to have to sit behind the McLaren, make a good overtake down the back straight, and pull clear as well as he can. But has Carlson for company as well. Don't know how well the softs are going to be lasting near the end of the race. Only 4 more laps left to go. But they're not going to get any more grippy. Onto the back straight we go once again. Holmes with the DRS goes to the inside. Doesn't even need the braking zone to make that move stick. And Carlson follows him through as well. So Rajuel down to P3 now as we head through 14-15. I think that's going to be a much better exit for Rajuel than Carlson, but unfortunately can't make anything of that. Oh, Torres getting past David Clark in the AlphaTauri. And now it looks like these two, Cross and Rafael, just trying to break away from the rest of the pack as well. Trying to make themselves just like Pulkkinen up ahead. It's going to be a little bit difficult with DRS coming up down that first DRS straight. Everyone staying in position up ahead. But not further back as Panos is trying a look down the inside at turn 5. Has that, but David Clark sets up a switchback. It does mean he's going to have the outside line through the chicane. Just gets shown the wall by Panos, who loses the rear just a little bit. Able to hang on to his Aston Martin, though. Is there anything that David Clark can do to recover? Doesn't look like he can take advantage of this one. So that's Panos up into P8 now. Late pit stops for Crystal, Allens, and Olami, who we saw broke his front wing at turn 14. But I think that was green flag pit stops for Crystal and Allens, so they are well over 20 seconds off of the rest of the field now. Carlson takes the lead of the race. Rajuel follows him past Harrison Holmes, who's now back down to third position. Side by side between Rafael and Cross sees Rafael keep P5. And then to the inside looked Panos on the inside of Carlos Torres, but didn't find anything there. And Clark still not quite able to take advantage of that. Rajuel having a look down the inside of turn 1 for the lead of the race of Carlson. It was very close between the two of them right there, but Rajuel having to back out of this one. Can he have a better line through 3 and 4? Bit of a twitch of the rear from Carlson. DRS and battery active for Rajuel. Is he going to have a look down the inside of turn 5? He's not really gaining on the AlphaTauri, though. Has to stay behind. Has Harrison Holmes down the inside, though. And Holmes just shows Rajuel the wall. Didn't quite put him in the wall, but any closer and he would have. But that is Holmes up into P2 now. I can breathe for just a second. A little twitch of the rear from Raphael, and he's got to cut the corner, so he gives that position to Liam Cross. And Carlos Torres is going to try and make his way through, but not quite able to do so on that occasion. 23 of 25. Only a couple more laps left to go. And Holmes starting to run out of battery. Torres getting it past Raphael, who does have DRS, so must have just... Oh, that's a big contact! Huge contact between Cross and Liam. Excuse me, between Clark and Liam. And that sees David Clark out of the race. That sees Liam with damage. Just saw trying to go 3 wide, just a little tap from one side sent one car into the other, and it's just a chain reaction from there. See it so often in pack racing here in the States. But it's interesting to see it in F1, as they had tried to make it 3 wide down the back straight. Just an unfortunate incident. They'd all been racing so well against each other. But unfortunately, that sees David Clark out of the race with only a couple laps left to go. Cross is not going to be making up much time with some front wing damage. Panos now leads this group ahead of Raphael and Torres. And they're all hurting for battery right now. As I say that, none of them are blinking as they come into shot. But... oh, man. Oh, another yellow flag, and that's Cross. He must have just locked up and, yep, completely gone into turn 5, the barrier on the exit of turn 5, rather. So we saw him get some front wing damage and unable to get his car stopped and turned in for 5. So then, Carlson leads from Holmes and Rajuel, and that's going to change down the back straight. As, we saw, oh dear, we saw how well 3 wide went, but Rajuel's just lost his end play as Holmes pulled into the racing line on the outside of turn 14. Gives Rajuel damage as he wasn't prepared for that one. And now Rajuel, he might lose touch with this group up ahead, but I don't really know if he's going to be losing a position to... No, not to Pulkkinen. Final lap of the race, didn't even realize. So we'll keep an eye on the top 3. Rajuel seems to... he's still within touching distance of the top 2, but just going to have to ride their tailcoat, so to speak, with the DRS and the slipstream to keep himself up into P3. So Carlson leads from Holmes, your top 2 contenders for the lead of the race at the end of the final lap. That was Panos having a little look down the inside of Raphael, but not finding anything there. Holmes taking some odd lines through the chicane section. Can he find a good exit on the exit of 9 on the AlphaTauri? Can't quite do so. Carlson backs out for the DRS. Look at that. A huge back out from the AlphaTauri. And he's got to be careful not to let Rajuel through, and they're all going to be going slow through 12 because they don't want to be the one in front. Rajuel's through into P2 now. Can Carlson convert this to a win as they're ghosted inside of each other? Harrison Holmes didn't let up through turn 12, though. That's the thing. So he's got himself a good enough gap. Rajuel's he's going to be the first one to look for it. Carlson has to stay behind the McLaren. And how is this going to work? Through 14 we go then. Carlson with the outside. Rajuel has the line, though. And Rajuel, with a broken front wing, might just be the one to take the victory here in Las Vegas. As I head through 17, they're all going to be burning as much as they possibly can. Carlson to the outside of 17. Rajuel has to let him through. Carlson wins by under a 1/10 of a second. On the final corner of the lap, Rajuel might have just had to lift through 17, maybe? Or did he just have a good enough exit out of 16? But... regardless, that is Carlson with a photo finish with Rajuel. I have to say, very well done from Rajuel to be able to keep himself glued to the top 2 with that front wing damage. Harrison Holmes having to take home a consolation P3. Pulkkinen got himself away from the action, and that's probably the safest place to be in Las Vegas. Takes P4 for his efforts. Panos finishing ahead of Raphael and Carlos Torres. So P6 and 7 for the drivers who started P3 and P2 respectively. So I was saying at the beginning of the broadcast, we might see a huge upset in terms of who wins the race and who's being on the podium. And I think that might just be one. I haven't been around ERO much to get to know the drivers, but I think that's a pretty big upset for Rajuel and the AlphaTauri driver here. And what a race that was. So we saw Las Vegas claim the cars of quite a few people, but for the ones who survived the melee, some pretty good points payouts for maybe the ones who weren't expecting a great race after qualifying. Celebrating now on the podium. The war is over. They can take a little bit of a breath here. So that's Carlson winning the race from Rajuel. Harrison Holmes taking it up into P3 from 14th on the grid, and a terrible start to the race. Manages to get a podium out of that one. Polkin in P5, Panos, Polkin in P4, Panos in P5, Rafael in 6th, Carlos Torres in 7th, Crystal in 8th, Manuel Olami taking home P9, Melvin Allens in 10th for Williams. Liam Cross not getting any points after a late DNF, along with David Clark. We'll get a quick scroll through the incident screen if anyone needs anything, because well, it was a bit of a chaotic race. Not many track limits penalties to go around, though, so that's always a plus. But what an exciting race that was from our Ero F1 drivers in Las Vegas. I'll take a quick look at the calendar. What is coming up next? After Vegas, it is a mystery Grand Prix. So next week, we don't know where we're going pretty much until the lobby opens. So no practice, no strategies, big surprises. So tune in next week for that one. Same time, same channel. We will see you here. It's been an absolute pleasure commentating over Ero F1, and we are looking forward to an exciting race in who knows where next week. So tune in for that one. That will do it for us today, though. So have a good one. We will see you then.